Look at these two squares. One is clearly lighter than the other, right? The square on top looks bright gray and the one in shadow looks much darker. Except they're exactly the same color. If I connect them with a bar of the same shade, you can see it, but your brain still refuses to believe it. Even knowing the truth, your eyes insist you're seeing two different colors. Now watch this spinning dancer. Is she rotating clockwise or counterclockwise? If you're watching with someone else, there's a good chance you'll disagree, and both of you will be absolutely certain you're right. You're looking at the same image, but seeing completely different movements. One of you sees her spinning left, the other sees her spinning right, and neither of you can understand how the other person is so obviously wrong. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your brain is lying to you right now. Not occasionally, not just in these trick examples, constantly. Every single moment, your brain is building a version of reality that feels absolutely correct, but is actually a best guess based on incomplete information, past experiences, and shortcuts designed for survival, not accuracy. This video will show you exactly how your brain creates these confident illusions, why memory is way more fragile than it feels, and how we end up believing things that aren't true, sometimes for our entire lives. By the end, you'll question everything you think you know about how you see and remember the world, and that's actually a good thing. Your eyes aren't cameras. They're creative storytellers. Let's start with something that should be impossible. You have a blind spot in each eye where the optic nerve connects to your retina. There are no light-detecting cells there, which means there's a chunk of your visual field where you literally cannot see anything. Close your right eye, look at this cross, and slowly move closer to the screen while focusing on the cross. At some point, the dot to the right will completely disappear. It vanished. Just gone. But here's the wild part. You never notice this blind spot in daily life. Your brain doesn't show you a black hole in your vision, it fills in the gap with whatever it thinks should be there based on surrounding information. Your brain is photoshopping reality in real time, and you never have any idea it's happening. This isn't a bug in the system, it's how the system works. Your eyes don't send your brain a perfect video feed of the world. They send fragments of information, edges, colors, movements, contrasts, and your brain constructs what it thinks you're probably seeing. Vision is interpretation, not documentation. Look at the Muller-Lyer illusion. Two horizontal lines with arrow-like ends. The line with outward-pointing arrows looks shorter than the line with inward-pointing arrows. Measure them. They're identical. But even after measuring, even after knowing they're the same length, your brain still sees them as different. You can know the truth intellectually, but your perception refuses to update. Why does this happen? Your brain has learned from a lifetime of experience that corners pointing outward usually mean things are closer to you, while corners pointing inward usually mean things are farther away. Your visual system is making an educated guess about depth and distance based on these angles, and in this case, the guess is wrong. But the system is so automatic, so below conscious control, that knowing it's wrong doesn't help. This is happening with everything you see all the time. Your brain is constantly predicting what should be there, checking incoming information against those predictions, and building the experience of vision from this prediction-reality comparison. When predictions are wrong, illusions happen. When they're right, which is most of the time, you never notice the process at all. Our brain is constantly making predictions, even before we consciously notice anything. It fills in gaps, connects patterns, and interprets what it sees. Most of the time, this happens so seamlessly we don't even realize it. These predictions allow us to act quickly and understand the world efficiently, but sometimes the predictions clash with reality and illusions appear. The Muller-Lyer illusion is just one example of this process. It shows that perception is an active construction, not a passive recording. Your brain prioritizes speed and likelihood over perfect accuracy. Illusions reveal the assumptions built into our visual system. They show the rules your brain relies on to make sense of the world. Even when we know the truth, perception often refuses to change. This stubbornness reflects how deeply ingrained these rules are. Every moment, your brain is predicting, checking, and updating. And when the predictions succeed, you never notice. They just feel natural. Illusions remind us that seeing is not just observing, it's interpreting. When illusions reveal the rules. Illusions aren't just party tricks. They're windows into the rules your brain uses to construct reality. When an illusion breaks those rules in just the right way, the system gets confused and we get to see the machinery at work. Take the Kanizsa triangle. You see a bright white triangle sitting on top of 3 black circles and a triangle outline, right? Except there is no white triangle. There are just 3 Pac-Man shapes and 3 angle brackets. Your brain is so committed to finding complete objects that it literally draws a triangle that isn't there, making it appear brighter than the background even though it's just empty white space. This happens because your brain prioritizes object recognition over pixel-perfect accuracy. In the real world, objects are usually complete things, and if parts are hidden behind other objects, your brain fills in what's probably hidden. The Kniza triangle exploits this assumption. It arranges shapes in a way that tricks your brain into seeing an object that completes the scene, even though that object doesn't exist. Or consider forced perspective photography. You've probably seen pictures where tourists pose like they're holding up the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Here's a more direct example. Two identical photos of a leaning tower placed side by side. They look like they're leaning at different angles. The one on the right seems to tilt more dramatically. They're identical images. Pixel for pixel the same. But your brain interprets them as two towers viewed from the same position, and two parallel towers viewed from one spot shouldn't look parallel. They should appear to diverge due to perspective. So your brain corrects what it's seeing, making identical images look different. The point of these illusions isn't to prove your brain is faulty. It's to reveal that your brain is using sophisticated rules about light, shadow, depth, and objects to construct your experience. These rules work brilliantly most of the time, but when the visual input is specially designed to exploit the rules, the system produces something that feels real but isn't accurate. You're not seeing badly. You're seeing exactly how you're designed to see, quickly, automatically, and optimized for a three-dimensional world, not carefully constructed, two-dimensional tricks. Your brain constantly makes assumptions about the world to interpret what you see. It guesses the shape, depth, and position of objects before you even notice them. These guesses are usually correct, which is why vision feels effortless. Illusions occur when these guesses clash with carefully designed images. They reveal the shortcuts your brain takes to process information quickly. Your mind prefers likely explanations over pixel-perfect accuracy. It fills in missing information, connects gaps, and smooths out noise. That's why you can perceive complete objects even when parts are hidden. You experience a stable, continuous world, not fragmented shapes. These rules are the reason you can navigate the world safely and efficiently. Without them, perception would be slow and confusing. Illusions exploit these rules to create experiences that feel real, but aren't. They demonstrate that perception is a constructive process, not a literal copy. Seeing these illusions teaches us how the brain interprets reality, and understanding them reminds us that your perception is a sophisticated, automatic system designed to make sense of a complex world. Memory is not a recording. It's a reconstruction. Now let's talk about something even more unsettling than visual illusions. Your memories are even less reliable than your vision, and you have no way to tell which ones are accurate and which ones are completely wrong. Think back to a clear childhood memory, maybe a birthday party, a family vacation, or your first day of school. You can probably see it in your mind's eye. You remember details, what people were wearing, what was said, how you felt. That memory feels like a recording you're replaying. It feels accurate, certain, real. Here's the problem. Every time you remember something, you're not playing back a recording. You're rebuilding that memory from scattered pieces stored in different parts of your brain. And every time you rebuild it, there's a chance you'll change small details, incorporate new information, or accidentally merge elements from different memories. Memory is reconstruction, not playback, and the reconstruction changes each time you do it. The Mandela effect is a perfect example of how confident we can be about memories that are completely wrong. Thousands of people clearly remember the children's book series being spelled Berenstain Bears. With an E-I-N, it's Berenstain Bears. It's always been Berenstain, with an A-I-N. People are so confident in their false memory that they've created entire conspiracy theories about parallel universes to explain the change rather than accepting that their memory was just wrong. This isn't because people are stupid or careless, it's because memory doesn't work the way it feels like it works. The brain stores the gist of experiences along with some details, then fills in gaps with what makes sense based on expectations, schemas, and related memories. Berenstain sounds like a more common spelling pattern for a Jewish surname, so brains confidently fill in that spelling even though it's incorrect. And because the memory feels vivid and certain, people trust it completely, even when it's provably wrong. Or consider this simpler example. Someone tells you a story, maybe about something funny that happened at work. Later, you retell that story, but in your mind, you're now convinced your other friend told you the story, not the person who actually said it. You're not lying. You genuinely remember it wrong because your brain cares more about the content of the story than the specific source. Memory prioritizes meaning over details, and confidence does not equal accuracy. This should be genuinely unsettling. It means you can be completely, unshakably certain about something that never happened. You can swear on your life that you remember something clearly and be entirely wrong. And because everyone's memory works this way, there's no reliable way to tell which memories are accurate and which are confident. Reconstructions your brain built from fragments and expectations. Memory isn't a recording. It's a reconstruction your brain builds each time you recall it. Every time you remember something, the memory changes a little. Your brain keeps the story, but the details shift without you noticing. It fills in missing pieces with what feels most reasonable or familiar. Over time, these small changes can create completely new memories. You remember the feeling, the idea, the meaning, but not always the facts. That's why two people can argue passionately about the same event and both believe they're right. Each of them is remembering a version shaped by their own expectations and assumptions. Confidence becomes a feeling, not a measure of accuracy. Your brain prioritizes coherence over precision, making the memory feel smooth and complete. But the smoothness doesn't mean it's true, it just means it feels true. Our minds prefer a clear story rather than an uncertain one with missing pieces. So the brain quietly fills in the blanks and presents the result as a true memory. This happens automatically, without your awareness or intention. And it reminds us that even our clearest memories are interpretations, not perfect copies of the past. The myths we keep believing? Now let's talk about misconceptions. Things that everyone knows but that aren't actually true. These spread for the same reason false memories feel real. Our brains prefer simple, emotionally satisfying stories to complicated, nuanced reality. Humans only use 10% of their brain. You've probably heard this one. It sounds profound. Imagine what we could do if we accessed the other 90%. It's completely false. Brain scans show activity across the entire brain, even during simple tasks. Different regions activate for different functions, but you're using your whole brain. The myth persists because it's simple, sounds scientific, and makes people feel like they have untapped potential. Reality is more complex and less dramatic, so the myth wins. Goldfish have a 3-second memory. This one is used to insult people's intelligence and justify keeping fish in tiny bowls. Goldfish can remember things for months. They can be trained, recognize individuals, and navigate complex environments. The myth persists because it's simple, justifies our behavior, and anthropomorphizes animal cognition in a way that makes us feel superior. The truth requires respecting fish intelligence, which is less convenient. Bats are blind. The phrase "blind as a bat" is everywhere. Bats can see. Many species see quite well, and all of them use vision in addition to echolocation. The myth persists because "blind as a bat" is a catchy phrase, and echolocation sounds more impressive if the alternative is complete blindness. The truth, that bats use multiple sensory systems together, is more complex and less memorable than the simple myth. Cracking your knuckles causes arthritis. People have been told this by concerned parents for generations. There's no evidence linking knuckle cracking to arthritis. The sound is just gas bubbles and joint fluid popping. The myth persists because it's a simple cause and effect story, gives parents something to nag about, and confirmation bias makes people notice arthritis in knuckle crackers while ignoring it in everyone else. These myths survive not because they're true, but because they're simple, emotionally resonant, or socially useful. They spread easily because human brains prefer stories with clear causes, satisfying explanations, and memorable details. Complex reality with uncertainty and nuance, that takes effort to understand and is hard to remember. Simple myth that explains everything neatly, that slots right into the brain's desire for clear patterns and easy answers. Why your brain is like this, and why that's okay. After all this, you might be thinking, so, my brain lies to me all the time? Yes, but that's not a flaw. It's part of what makes humans amazing. Your brain turns incomplete information into a stable world. It lets you react quickly. It lets you form memories that adapt to new situations. It lets you learn from patterns, even when details are missing. Perception fills in the gaps. Memory connects events into meaning. Misconceptions help us navigate the world before we fully understand it. The brain isn't built for perfect truth. It's built for survival, creativity, prediction, and speed. We see enough of reality to function, and the rest is a beautifully constructed illusion. That's not depressing. That's astonishing. Your mind is constantly editing reality, not to deceive you, but to protect you, to keep the world stable, even when it isn't. It smooths the rough edges of uncertainty. It fills the blanks with its best guess, and it does all of this before you even notice. That's why your thoughts feel seamless, why your memories feel solid, why your beliefs feel obvious. The brain prefers confidence over confusion. It prefers a clean story over a messy truth, and it will rewrite moments to keep that story intact. Not because you're wrong, but because the brain wants coherence more than accuracy. It wants meaning more than raw data. It wants patterns more than randomness. That's the secret behind every illusion you've ever fallen for, behind every myth you've ever repeated, behind every memory you swear is true. They're all products of a brain doing its best, a brain optimized for action, not perfection, a brain that sacrifices detail to give you clarity, a brain that trades truth for usefulness. And somehow, that trade makes life richer, and your experience of the world uniquely human. Every mistake your mind makes is a window into its genius. Every false memory is a sign of adaptation. Every myth you believe is a shortcut your brain created. The brain prefers speed over slow, careful calculation. It prefers intuition over painstaking analysis. It prefers patterns that feel familiar, even if they're not perfect. That's why stories last longer than statistics. That's why legends survive and facts get forgotten. Your perception is not a camera, it's a lens, shaped by survival. Your attention highlights what matters and ignores the rest. Your brain edits the world so you can act, decide, and survive. It's not lying, it's simplifying. It's not flawed, it's creative. It's not deceiving, it's enabling. And that is the extraordinary beauty of being human. Stay curious, stay humble, stay open. So why do we believe things that aren't true? Because our brain is always trying to make sense of the world, even when information is incomplete, confusing, or misleading. It fills in shapes that aren't drawn. It builds memories from fragments. It repeats stories that feel right. And it confidently presents all of this as reality. But the point of this video isn't to make you distrust your mind. It's to remind you how wonderfully human these mistakes are. Your brain isn't perfect, it's creative, it's adaptive, it's efficient. It's constantly making the best guess possible with the information it has. And that's why staying curious matters, because the world is fascinating. But your mind might be even more fascinating. Every perception is a collaboration between you and your environment. Every memory is a conversation between past and present. The brain doesn't just record, it interprets. It doesn't just store, it prioritizes. It doesn't just see, it predicts. It connects dots you didn't even know existed. It creates patterns out of randomness. It turns fleeting moments into stories you can remember. It chooses meaning over meaningless detail. It celebrates coherence, even when the world is messy. And sometimes it invents details to complete the picture. Sometimes it invents comfort where there is none. Sometimes it invents courage when you need it most. That's why intuition can feel so real. That's why gut feelings often guide you better than raw data. Your brain is a bridge between chaos and clarity. It transforms uncertainty into action. It transforms confusion into insight. It transforms fragments into understanding. It's never lazy. It's always working, always hypothesizing, always testing, always adjusting. And in doing so, it creates the rich tapestry of your experience. Every thought, every memory, every mistake is a testament to your brain's brilliance. Thanks for watching. And remember, the next time you're absolutely certain about something, your brain might just be playing its favorite trick.